crystalline fields embodies the realm of Haish, a gleaming vista of purity and light. Here in this abandoned fortress of resplendent glory, the radiant keep maintains an air of noble brightness. Lost to time, the ruins here hide something of great importance, only recently discovered, an artifact that can wield the light of Haish itself. But with the incursion of the Nighthaunts here, even the brightest light of the realm seems to be fading in the growing darkness, as malign death magics extends its pervasive claim here, hoping to taint everything it touches. Vadalus feels uneasy as he drifts among the ruins here. Half bathed in light and half cast in shadow, the blight he instilled upon these lands felt ephemeral, and the thought concerned him. They needed to secure their hold here, and for that, something had to be done about the biggest threat. His gaze shifted towards the diamond apex, the largest peak in these lands. It radiated a brilliance that made him wince. He needed more power if he was to overcome such an obstacle. With the foothold they have established here, his death magics felt more empowered, but the ebb and flow of the aether conveyed a disturbance was on the way. The grounds of the keep is rampant with wandering spirits, searching tirelessly for the artifact that he sought. An aether quartz of immense proportions lay hidden somewhere within this place, and if he could corrupt it, he would finally have the means to continue spreading his shade across this land, which was an anathema to his kin. A sudden jolt surges through him, as a protective ward he had placed is breached by a force with a strong magical aura. He had imagined the Stormcast would try to stop him once more, but didn't imagine such a presence. He quickly orders a group of hex wraiths to prepare to scout and engage the enemy, uttering dark words to usher a protective shade mist around them. But the blinding lights of this place disrupt his spell as it takes hold. He quickly prepares to create a mystic shield to protect the wraiths instead, but the arcane flow is disrupted by that of another caster. His frustrations mounting, he summons for his allies and forces to join him for the ensuing battle. The rasping of chains grows louder with each moment as a horde of chained ghosts gather to Vadalus' spectral lantern. Melchior, the Lord Executioner, also comes forth to answer the Guardian of Souls' summons. Accompanied by his spirit hosts, he drags his heavy axe along the ground, his eyes wary for any ambush. Despite being bound to serve him, the spirit hosts dance around him as if mocking him for his past transgressions. He could remember some of them from his past life, people he had executed in the name of his lord. He cared little for them as long as they served him well in this afterlife. Their mocking ridicule was not worthy of his time.
"The ones from before,"
he growled questioningly to Vadalus. His soul still burned where the Night Zephyros had attacked him in the last battle, rending a tear through his incorporeal form.
"No, these ones are different. A stronger magical aura surrounds them,"
Vadalus answers coldly, his eyes fixated on the horizon, waiting for the enemy to show. His attention shifts for a moment as the tormented wails of the Mirmorn banshees reach him. To most living things, their screams and cries convey nothing but a wretched noise of anguish and suffering. But to Vadalus, they report news of great significance. The artifact he sought has been discovered. Just as he begins to plan his next move, a blazing Azurite comet streaks across the sky with a rolling thunderstorm in its wake. Joseph Geostar, Lord Arcanum of the Arcane Artificers, marched steadily forwards with his retinue of Sequitors and Evocators. His staff glowing with the pulsating power of Shaiish, he could sense that the artifact was close. His augury had led the forces of Iota awry, and he hoped to correct his mistake. The invasive darkness that had taken hold here clung to him like an unnatural tar, a disturbing feeling despite his familiarity with the realm of Shaiish. Stamping his staff forcefully, he calls forth Azurite energies that reach out into the sky and forking out every direction, ushering in a thunderstorm. Cracks of lightning breach the darkening skies as his forces pick up their pace, with the enemy in view. Rin's Stormwind moves alongside them, his banners fluttering in the wind. His courage lifted the spirits of the warriors around him, and they felt confident in the upcoming fight.
"Didn't need to come, you know.
Joseph says to the younger Stormcast hero.
Plan to rectify this mistake myself. Drive out the undead army from this place.
His demeanor was calm and confident. He had almost felt a bit insulted when the young wizard priest requested to accompany.
My service is to the light,
Rin replied, pulling his visor down to hide his face.
In this land of cascading light, an unnatural darkness has blighted its sanctitude. I cannot let that happen.
Rin was no novice to battle, but he definitely felt more at ease along the parapets of a fortification. Joseph grinned at the formal attitude of his companion, hoping that his own actions would not disappoint. Rin whispers a prayer and entwines it with an incantation, but the flow of magic saps the words from his lips and the spell dissipates into the air. Unperturbed, he marches forwards with his forces, hoping his presence will make a difference. The evocators begin to chant in unison, their words in chorus, and with matching gestures, their combined mana pools to cast a spell to enhance them with the speed of lightning. But before the spell comes to fruition, it is unbound by the machinations of Atlas, with his baleful lantern of souls absorbing the etheric power from the Stormcast. Joseph, leading his forces, shouts to them, inspiring them with a rousing oratory.
The forces of death are trying to destroy the purity of this place. By Sigmar's might and by Sigmar's blessing, we will be the ones to remove them from this place and return it to its rightful brilliance. Onwards, and let them know of Sigmar's fury, channeled through your weapons.
His sequitors leap into action and rush forwards, their weapons thrumming with etheric energies as they crash against the chain rasp hordes. Mauls crackle with thunder as they discharge their power with thunderous blasts. Swords slash through the horde as if blade through cloth. The ghostly horde do not waver though, as they lash back with deathly determination, and strike down two of the sequitors in retaliation, sending them away in strokes of lightning. Vadalus urges them on, ensuring that none of his horde begin to rout.
Find the courage that you didn't in life. Hold this line or have your soul forever lost into the emptiness of the underworld.
He cries with his chilling voice. A deathly wind blows through the battlefield, which he hoped was a good omen. His hopes were dashed though, as with blinding speeds a retinue of evocators joined the fray. With arcs of lightning wreathing them in a maelstrom of vicious energy, they lash out with their weapons, and with a final clap of thunder, the horde of spirits under Vadalus's command are vanquished outright. As his forces quickly dwindle, Vadalus begins reciting his spells in a panic, but they are quickly unbound by the counterspells of Joseph and Rin. Vadalus is almost surrounded by the enemy, until a terrifying sound echoes from the crypts of the ruins. Screaming out of the darkness, Drusilla, the bloody banshee, sends a shockwave with her voice, which blasts the very soul out of the Stormcast, leaving only a dead husk of a warrior. In the wake of her devastating shriek, her banshee handmaidens swoop forward silently, only to brandish screaming daggers to strike at the Stormcast battle line. At the same time, the Hex Wraiths finally make a ghostly charge to smash into the flank of the Sequitors. With spectral scythes, they tear through not only armor, but reap the very souls of the Stormcast as another warrior is brought down. The Evocators counterattack, using blasts of Azurite thunder to destroy the spectral riders, while the Sequitors of the Shining Blade desperately try to hold the line. Ornus watches intently as the battle continues, but with each Stormcast warrior brought down, he sees an opportunity and takes it. With his heavy chains, he captures the potent soul energy of the fallen Stormcast, breaking them and reshaping them to reinforce his own warriors. To the despair of the Stormcast, the number of the Nighthaunts seems to be unending, and they are slowly surrounded. Unable to sit idly by while his brethren are slowly brought down by these creatures of darkness, Rin rushes to the thick of the battle and begins to channel the power of the light into his hands. A protective aura projects from him, bathing the area in a warm glow. The Nighthaunts are stunned in awe by the arcane projection, while the Stormcast fight back with renewed confidence. Joseph marches ahead with another group of evocators, their weapons already glowing with pent-up energies. They make a long charge into the Hex Wraiths, and with sweeping blades and forks of crackling lightning, they send these bloodied haunts back to the underworld. The Banshees begin to disengage, but before they can retreat back to safety, they too are destroyed by the wild arcs of lightning, controlled by the evocators.
Melchior, crush the enemy forces while I secure the artifact. Ornas, hold the gates. They must not take what is rightfully ours.
Vadalus shouts in frustration as his forces collapse around him, and he is forced to retreat. He quickly casts protective spells onto the Spirit Tormentor.
Know this, if you fail in your duties here, your soul will only be brought back as one of the many in the Horde.
He warns the Spirit Torment. Finally being called into action, Melchior surges towards the enemy along with his host of spirits. Moving swiftly with incorporeal bodies, they form a wave of terror as they sweep across the Stormcast lines. Spectral daggers and claws rake across the forces of Sigmar as blade and armor are unable to repel the onslaught. The Sequitors and the Evocators, led by Rin, are quickly overrun as Melchior cuts a wide swath of destruction with his Executioner axe. Bright bolts of lightning send many of the Stormcast away as others are forced to retreat. The power of their impetus behind them, the Lord Executioner leads his spirit host into another wave of absolute terror and destruction to assault the Lord Arcanum and the remaining Evocators.
Claim their heads, claim their souls. They will not escape my judgment.
Melchior screams as his axe slams down to meet the staff of the Lord Arcanum. Joseph pushes back, his gauntlets discharging a burst of arcane power to block the reaping swings of the Executioner axe. Around him, though, the spirit hosts surround the Evocators, striking down another with each harassing pass. Cruel, cackling laughter can be heard from the spirits as they devilishly cut down their foes. Joseph gathers the last ounce of his mana into his staff and sends a devastating blow to the Lord Executioner.
Feel the power of Harmar.
A blinding light flashes before them as Melchior feels his soul being torn apart by the blast of pure energy. The spirit hosts disperse momentarily as a shockwave of power pushes everyone back. Joseph collapses to his knees from the exertion. His quarry banished from his sight, with his body weakened, he looks around warily as the spirit hosts encircle him and draw near. He punches the ground frustrated, knowing that the enemy will continue to grow stronger because of his failures. Vadalus opens the vault hidden within the abandoned fortress to reveal a magnificent gem of aether quartz. It radiates a brilliance which pains Vadalus to behold, but he presses on. With an incantation and a swift jab of his staff, it cracks the surface like an egg to let an oozing shadow seep into the gemstone. The radiant light soon turns into a bleak one that casts a blanketing darkness as far as could be seen. He beckons for his followers to pick up the relic and to begin transporting it at once, as he begins to feel stronger with the newly entrenched gloom. Soaking in the corruption as it spreads, for the first time since entering this place, Vadalus finally feels at home.
Thank you for viewing our channel. If you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. We also have a Facebook page and Instagram accounts. Links are within the channel banner. Take care and happy wargaming.